Alright guys, so I'm doing a follow-up video to my last video about a high school girl who was caught pepper spraying her teacher because the teacher took her phone. Now, when I was reacting to this video, some of you guys in the comment section had issues with the fact that I was laughing during the video, and I just wanted to clear some things up because that situation was a very serious situation, and I wasn't necessarily laughing at the teacher getting pepper sprayed. It was more so that some of these situations that are happening in our society are just so ridiculous and it's so routine that sometimes, in order to keep myself from being frustrated, considering the fact that I cover news on a daily basis, news ranging from, for example, earlier today I talked about two white men being murdered just because they're white. I cover news like that are very serious, and then, other news out of straight up cuckoo for Cocoa Puff world of people just doing dumb stuff. And I felt like, sometimes there's some stories where, I gotta laugh to keep from being frustrated by how backwards our society has become and just how silly things have become. But I think that this video right here, of this mother allows me to expand on the last video that I did and how you get to a point where you have kids that have become so emboldened, so entitled, that they feel like they can pepper spray their teacher because a teacher took their phone. And it starts with the parents and how these kids were raised growing up. The fact that these parents are not disciplining their kids. They're not raising their kids with any type of respect for authority. And I think this video right here is a prime example of what I'm talking about, okay? It features a woman who came into the store for a few items, but was refused service because her son was being rude. I think her son was like knocking stuff down and just, being a problem, okay? He was being an agent of chaos. And the manager banned her from the store, but she decided to come back the next day, and she subsequently got kicked out again. And this video that I'm about to play is the reaction to her being kicked out and an interaction that she had with the store manager. And it really does show you why a lot of these kids today are so messed up and why they lack respect for authority and why they're so entitled is because you have mothers like this, who's probably a single mother, raising their sons and their kids to act the way a lot of these kids are acting. So I think, again, this is a perfect follow-up to that video and for me to expand a little bit more on this issue that we're seeing. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Just drop everything. Leave.
Well, we need
No.
stuff.
You were banned last time after the lady told you to stay out.
What are you talking about? What
The last time
manager?
when the store manager.
What store manager? We need to get our stuff.
Is this the express lane?
No, there's no express lane.
I need to get my stuff.
No, leave. You're banned from the store. You have to leave.
Why am I being
Because of his attitude, what he's doing, and you're not doing anything about it.
What can I do? If I hit my kid, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna go to jail.
You don't come
right?
in. This is quote jail. You're letting him do this.
I'm gonna go to jail.
Leave.
I can't do that. I'm
Leave.
never gonna hit my
Leave the
kid.
store.
I need to get my stuff.
You're not getting anything. Leave.
No, shut the fuck up!
Wow.
Leave.
I can't get my stuff.
No, leave.
I think I'm gonna go to another store. Too long.
You're banned. Don't come back. I was told when you come in, just I'm on.
I'm told what?
You're going.
I need to get my.
Yeah. So that video is from 2018. I'd be fascinated to see where that young boy is today. Okay, I can imagine he's probably 10, 11, 12 years old at this point. But in that video, he looked like he could have been as young as, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he's telling the store manager to shut the F up while also, knocking things down, swiping stuff off the counter, just being an absolute agent of chaos. And the mother is sitting there refusing to discipline her child. And when asked to discipline her child, she basically is giving excuses for why she can't do it. Well, I might go to jail if I put my hands on my child. right? And I don't think that anybody's asking her to, beat her child in the store, but to at the very least address the behavior or attempt to address the behavior that seemed to be so bad that it warranted her being kicked out. Okay. The store's like, hey, we don't even want you to buy stuff from here. Okay. We don't even want your business. That's how bad your son is. There's no doubt in my mind, again, and it's an unfortunate thing to say this, that little child probably today is probably still a menace to society. And it's really messed up and I guess effed up for me to say, but that is the reality of what happens when you're raising kids like this. When you raise children in a way in which you don't discipline them, you don't instill any type of respect for authority in them, that is how you get kids that grow up to end up becoming criminals, be a part of gangs, again, end up pepper spraying their teachers. Is because they are entitled. They've never been told no. They've never been disciplined. They've never been told to have respect for their elders, for adults. They've never been taught that type of stuff. And that's how you get to that point. Okay, there's no doubt in my mind that she's probably a single mother, okay, raising that kid without a father, because I can imagine that if the kid had a father in his life, he probably wouldn't be acting like that. And if he happens to have a father in his life, then the father's probably not a good father. He's a piss poor father. The fact that kid knows how to say, shut the F up, and the B word, I think he said the B word too, tells me that that's the environment that he's growing up in. He's growing up in an environment where he's hearing that on a day-to-day basis. This is what is normally said. It has now become a part of his vocabulary. And it's sad. It really is. Again, that's the problem here, right? The problem is that these kids are not being disciplined. They're not being raised correctly in the home. And that trickles into public life. And the society, everybody else, has to deal with the negative consequences. Again, like that teacher that was pepper sprayed by that girl. That girl should be disciplined, probably expelled from school. And the parents should also be demonized and held responsible as well too, because I don't know in what world do you raise a child to feel like it's okay to pepper spray an adult for simply taking a phone, right? How do you become that entitled? How do you have that much disrespect for authority where you feel like that you can take action into your own hands against an adult simply because they're disciplining you, right? Again, that's what happens when you've never been disciplined, when you feel like nobody can tell you what to do, because even your own parents, even the adults that are living in your house don't even tell you what to do, right? They don't have control over you. So imagine, again, a teacher trying to discipline a student when they're not even being disciplined at home. It's impossible. And I feel bad for a lot of these teachers who have to deal with this stuff because it happens way too often. They have to deal with the negative consequences of improper home training, of bad parenting. And it causes dysfunction in schools. That's a lot of the issues in school, is just bad kids. It's hard to have a good learning environment when the kids are acting up and they're just being menaces. Hard to learn, hard to teach anything, hard to function. So, videos like this, where you see this child being able to just do what he wants, parent is not disciplining him, don't think that she should discipline him. Again, that's exactly how you get those type of situations. It starts early. It starts when they're young. When I was growing up, I was taught to say yes, sir, and no, sir, or yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am, to adults, especially elders, especially older adults. And if I forgot to do it, I got a mouthful, a lipful from my father. A lot, right? It happened a lot. And if I ever talked back to an adult, if I ever disrespected an adult, I may have got more than just, a mouthful or a lipful. I might have got my mouth and my lips slapped, okay? Again, I mean, I'm just saying. we're not having enough conversations about the core problems, the root issues of a lot of the things that we're seeing in society in regards to young people and how they behave. It is on the parents. The parents are not raising these kids correctly. They're not raising them properly. They're not raising them to have respect for their elders and authority. They're not. We've normalized ghetto and ratchet behavior as, well, that's just how it is. I guarantee you there's nobody in that mother's life or that child's life that is checking them and saying, hey, you know, maybe you're doing this wrong. Maybe your kid shouldn't be cursing like that, right? And acting a fool and being an agent of chaos. That's why she's so surprised that somebody has an issue with this type of behavior, because nobody's there to check her in her own community and to say, hey, this ain't cool. How are you raising your son like this? Why is your son cursing? Again, irresponsible parents, man. Again, we don't talk about it enough. It's normalized. Is in some cases it's celebrated. You know, the baby daddy culture celebrated, baby mama culture celebrated. I mean, it's bad. This is why we're seeing a lot of stuff that we're seeing. Again, sometimes, unfortunately, it's so crazy and so Looney Tunes that I can't help but laugh at situations I really even should be laughing at, because, you know, it is a serious situation. But again, sometimes, guys, it's so crazy. It's so out of control. In order for me to not lose my mind, right, sometimes I have to laugh it off. And it's just, you know, it sometimes it happens in moments where it shouldn't happen. But it's extremely serious conversation that we should be having as a society. It really is. We should start demonizing these bad parents, man. As much as we demonize these kids, the parents are just as responsible, if not more responsible, for their behavior. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.